Hello, Rohi. Over to you.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah, Rohi. Perfect.
A winner is a dreamer who never gives up. Haryo, a fine good evening to one and all present here. I am Sheikh Afsaruhi, Joint Secretary, YCC.
I am Sheetal PM, Secretary, YCC.
Welcome you all to the talk on Has Social Media Put to Pulp the Future of Journalism, organized by YCC and PG Department of English in association with IQAC of Chinmaya Arts and Science College for Women, Kannur. Sheetal, you are muted.
Rohi, you continue, Rohi. Sheetal, I think some network issue must be. Okay.
Social media is a computer-based technology. It facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through the building of virtual networks and communities. The future of journalism could see the emergence of more and more personalized content. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Tirtha, Executive Member of YCC Club, for the invitation. Tirtha, over to you.
നിറയും വെളിച്ചമേ ഇൻ മനസ്സിൽ നീ ശാന്തിയാകണമേ എന്റെ പാദം ഇടറാതിരിക്കുവാൻ ഇന്നും എന്നിൽ ദയ ചൊരിയണമേ നല്ല ചിന്തയായി എന്റെ മനസ്സിലും നല്ല ഭാഷയായി നാവിൻ്റെ തുമ്പിലും നല്ല ചെയ്തിയായി എന്റെ കരത്തിലും നന്മയായി നീ കടന്നിരിക്കണമേ എങ്ങുമെങ്ങും നിറയും വെളിച്ചമേ എൻ മനസ്സിൽ നീ ശാന്തിയാകണമേ.
Thank you, Tirtha.
Next, I would like to invite Ms. Sheetal Pradeep, Vice President, YCC, for the welcome speech. Sheetal, over to you.
Thank you, Ruhi. Trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty, enjoy the beauty of becoming. Hari Om, a very good evening to all gathered here. On behalf of Chinmaya Arts and Science College, I would like to welcome you all to this session. The fragrance of flowers spread only in the direction of the wind, but the goodness of a person spreads in all directions. Amidst us, we have one such inspiring personality, Mr. Joe A. Scaria, a senior journalist and renowned academician. We are very fortunate to have him with us this evening. We extend an affable welcome to you, sir. The essence of great leadership is influence, not authority. With this note, I would like to welcome our principal, Dr. C.R. Lalita, to this program. Welcome, ma'am. It's my privilege to welcome the National President of PRCI, Dr. T. Vinay Kumar. Welcome, sir. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. U.S. Kuti, the National Secretary General of PRCI. Welcome, sir. With immense pleasure, I would also like to welcome Mr. Ramsi Menon, Director, YCC Kerala, who has always encouraged us to push our boundaries. Let me also extend a warm welcome to the faculty coordinators and members of the different YCC chapters gathered here. I would also like to welcome Mr. Mahesh Chandrabalika, Secretary, Chinmaya Mission, and Mr. Vinesh Rajagopalan, Joint Secretary, Chinmaya Mission, who have joined here with us today. Just as importantly, I would also like to welcome all the faculty members and students of our Chinmaya family who have been a constant support for us. Once again, I welcome all of you to this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheetal. Now, I invite Dr. Vinay Kumar, the National President of PRCI, the first Malayali to become. He has 4 decades of experience in PR and advertising. He is also the Director, World Communicators Council, Vice President and Director, PRCI YCC Governing Council, co-founder and Senior Partner Guide, PR and Branding, Founder Secretary and Trustee Pepper Creative Award Trust. Sir, I welcome you to speak a few words.
Thank you, Ruhi. Nair sir, dear friend Joe, Lyra ma'am, Anita Haridas, Professor Lilita, and all the YCC friends. I am not taking much of your time because this is not actually wanted also. Joe is going to be the speaker today. He is going to give us a very good lecture session, a lot of dissemination of information, very interesting and informative. So I don't want to stand in between you and Mr. Joe. So I wish all the success to the program. Thank you for inviting me, Chinmaya College, Kannur. Thank you. I am always with you. I'll be there. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Your mic is muted.
Hello, Rohi, you continue. I think she some problem with the network.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Next. Over to Sheetal.
Next, we have Mr. U.S. Kutty, National Secretary General, PRCI, KCPR, and Advertising Professional with 40 years of illustrious career, beginning with Saubhagya Advertising in Mumbai. Mr. U.S. Kutty has organized 800 plus press conferences for many public and private sector organizations and state government. He is one of the founder of Kochi Advertising Club and trustee of prestigious Pepper Awards. We are indeed very grateful to Mr. U.S. Kutty, sir, for inviting such an eminent and renowned guest for this session. I invite you to speak a few words. Now, I would like to invite Hiba Zubair, Treasurer of YCC Club, to introduce the speaker of the day. Hiba, over to you.
It is my privilege to introduce the speaker for the day, Mr. Joe A. Skaria. He was a former senior assistant editor, The Economic Times, Chennai. Presently, he is a Kerala correspondent of the Gulf News, Dubai. He began career as sub-editor with the Indian Express and later nearly 2 decades with the Economic Times, part of the Bennett, Coleman and Company, publishers of the Times of India. He has worked in Kochi, Mumbai, Coimbatore, Thiruvananthapuram, and Chennai. He is a faculty member at the Institute of Journalism, Thiruvananthapuram. May I now request Mr. Joe A. Skaria to enlighten us about the topic, Has social media put to pulp the future of journalism? Sir, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be handling this session. Yeah. My thanks to the Chinmaya Arts and Science College, Kannur, for inviting me. Respected principal, Dr. Lyra Lakshmanan, the HOD, PRCA National President, Dr. Vinay Kumar, Ramsi Menon, US Kuti, and everybody else who's contributed to this. Thank you for the introduction, the welcome address, and all the other formalities you've done. I plan to have, we have about 45 minutes in the session. I'll use about 25, and we can have 20 minutes of interaction. I see that you have got perhaps one of the few people left on earth to handle the session, given the topic, because it's about traditional media versus social media. I'm somebody who's completing 37 years in the traditional media this year. I started in 1984 when I think your HOD was not born. Or probably just born. And after 37 years, I've got 1 year experience in social media. So somebody who's seen both sides of the communication spectrum. So in that sense, I feel worthy of handling the session. Now, many of you, I understand you're doing PG literature, most of you. You probably need to be given the background of what media itself is and how it functions, so you get a better understanding and a wider perspective of how media functions. Media actually, in short, is a business in which the publisher or the broadcaster gathers a group of people and sells that group to marketers and makes money. You may not like my definition, but that's how it is. For example, if I'm an Asianet or a CNN or a Madhrubhumi or a Deshabhimani or whatever, I'll have X number of people who read or view my content. I sell them. I have this group. I sell them to advertisers, to companies, and I get my money from companies. Not really from that group of people who watch my channel or read my newspaper, because they only pay a subscription, which is very, very small. I can even do without those that little money. I can give you free the newspaper, almost, or the television channel. I don't need money from subscribers. I can sell all of you together as a group to some marketer who wants to sell his product or service to you. So if they see that you are the right target group, they will advertise in that channel or in that newspaper, or today on social media, whatever social media channel that I have, whether it's an FB or a Twitter or a YouTube. So that's how media functions. Now, what has changed? Now, some of you may be shocked when I start saying that media is a business. Yes, it is. It is a business. Many people think the traditional way that, how can you say it's a business? After all, it's one of the 4 pillars of our democracy. And, the media is the one that supports our whole society. Well, that is the textbook definition. But if you come to the practical aspect, it is indeed a business. Like last week or over this week, we are seeing that war is a business. Afghanistan is now going through not a proper war, but a social media kind of war. If you compare, social media and traditional media, what's happening is in Afghanistan is like social media. It is not a war between 2 countries, but a whole nation is crumbling, and that is a business also, just like media is a business. For example, you might have read that United States spent $2 trillion in Afghanistan in 20 years. Actually, that $2 trillion, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Dollars, $2 trillion. In Malayalam, to translate that, $2 laksham kodi. Multiply that by 70, you know, 140 laksham kodi ruba. I mean, every Afghanistani could have been. Afghanistan is only slightly more populated than Kerala. Kerala's population is 3.5 crore. Afghanistan is 3.9 crore. It's almost just as small as Kerala. Imagine 140 laksham kodi. If we had in our pocket, we could have distributed to all those people. But actually that money was spent mostly in the US itself, because all that money has gone into weapons made by companies in the US. So it never went out of US. So we say so much money was spent on Afghanistan, it was all in the US. Similarly, just like war is a business, media is a business. Sadly, you may find that today education is a business. All of these should not be businesses. We would not want these to be businesses, but that is how things are in the world. So please understand that basics about how the media, the revenue model of media, how salaries are paid in media. So if the advertising money doesn't come in, there are no salaries for journalists. Although in the media, we are supposed to have a Chinese wall between the advertising and the advertising side and the journalism side. We're not supposed to see each other or meet each other or in any way be influenced by the marketing team. Yet the money for journalists, the salary comes from the ads brought by the marketing team. So that's how it works. Okay. And then there is a third side, which is the distribution or the circulation side, which technology has now almost completely taken over, because once the physical products stop to be given to homes, it is all digitally distributed. So you don't need a circulation team. You don't need those vans, the delivery vehicles, or the delivery people. So that's the background. Now, 1995 was a turning point for India, for Indian media. We are actually exactly 26 years after that, because it was in August 1995, on Independence Day, that India opened up public internet. It was on 15/8/1995 that we had public internet. And today we are 26 years and some 10 days after that. Now that was a milestone date for India, for media, because that's the day that the traditional media started crumbling. It was the beginning of, I would not say the end, but beginning of all troubles for traditional media, because the entry barrier to being a media owner was very high. Until 1995, if you wanted to start a newspaper, you needed to have a printing press. And you can imagine, how expensive it is to have a printing press to print your paper. So not everybody could do that. But once the internet came, everybody could be a newspaper owner. And just a few years later, we saw the arrival of social media, as we call it now. Today, we don't even say social media, we call it SOME, S-O-M-E, for social media. SOME came, and everybody on earth became a journalist. There are 750 crore people on earth. So technically, with the arrival of SOME, you can say that the number of journalists on earth is 750 crore. You and I and everybody else is a journalist. Now, if that is so, traditional media should have ended, fallen, crumbled, and died at least 10 years ago. Well, indeed, the print media and television have lost a lot of their bite, because people now have other options. Now let's consider the difference between these options: the traditional media versus the social media or the new media. Traditional media was very, very targeted. They knew their audience. It would go to the same people every day with minor additions coming in. For example, when the Madhurabhumi sells newspapers every day, the newspaper vendor does not go to different houses. He goes to the same house and delivers the same product every day. And only the same people get whatever they print. Nobody other than those subscribers will get to know what is published in a Madhurabhumi. In SOME, it doesn't go to a targeted audience. It just flies everywhere. If it becomes a viral video or a viral post, it simply flies left, right, center. If a lot of people like it, then they share it and it just flies. Unlike traditional media, which was targeted to selected people who were subscribers. Another difference, in traditional media, everything was cast in stone, meaning you have written something, it is printed, it is out of the press, and it's delivered. You can't make changes. So we say you write something in old media that is cast in stone. Unlike social media or new media, you can still make changes even after it's published, because you can continue to edit that. When I write for the Gulf News, and somebody calls and says, so and so spelling was wrong. I should spell Lakshmi L-A-K-S-H-M-I. That's how she spells it, not M-Y. I still have an opportunity to go and change that. Unlike in print or television, once you've said that, that's gone. I mean, it's broadcast or it's printed. It was cast in stone. One is instant. Social media is instant. The other one takes some time for processing, and it takes time to reach you. One is two-way and the other is one-way. And this is important because why have people left print media? A lot of people left print media or traditional media because it was one way, and today we call it it's the lean back media. Lean back and read them. Unlike SOMI, it's the lean forward media where you are on your device, you read something, you read an article by Joe Scaria, you disagree. If it's print, you forget it. I mean, you can't do anything about it. You don't want to go to the post office, buy an inland letter, and then write to the editor and say, this was nonsense, what Joe wrote. On social media, if I write something, or the new media, online media, if I write some nonsense, immediately people can lean forward and give their opinion. Editor, please sack this guy. He's talking through his hat. So that's the lean forward media versus the lean back media, where you could have your cup of tea and read your newspaper, but never having the opportunity to tell your mind to the editor or to the author of that article. And finally, the biggest difference between the two is unreliable versus reliable. I wouldn't say 100%, but traditional media is 99% reliable. Social media, why it is not catching everybody's fancy is because you'll have to check, recheck, and all that. The onus of all that is on you. You will have to go around and find out. Just an hour before I came into this meeting, one fake news was circulating around Kerala, or Keralites around the world. Even you probably got it. That caterer, famous caterer, and then later film producer, who produced movies like Spanish Masala, Naushad, very famous for his biryani, that he passed away. At 3:30, almost every Keralite heard that Naushad had passed away. At 4:10, you get the news, sorry, Naushad is alive. He's critical. Now, if you go to traditional media websites, the Madhubhumi did not report he was dead. Malayalam Manorama did not report. The Hindu did not report. The Indian Express did not report. None of the traditional media reported that he was dead. Social media reported he was dead, did such a great disservice, and have gotten away. They have no responsibility. Probably somebody from Naushad's family he has only a daughter, I understand. His wife died 2 weeks ago. So that is the biggest difference today. Social media reaches multiple X times the number of people reached by traditional media. But if you want to really pass on an information to somebody else, he better come from traditional media, where there are a set of people who vet your copies, who see your copy, who either tear it and put it in the basket saying this is not worthy of publishing, who cross-check facts, who consider all aspects, who give it a title, who package it, who correct the grammar, and only after that it is released. So it is worth waiting for. Unlike hearing everything in a flash, when Taliban reached Kabul, the last to report that was the BBC. And often if you follow the BBC, you'll find that they are the last to report. Many people ask, are there journalists like this? Often we see on Indian media and every other country, television channels vying with each other to break news, saying we are the first, we are the first, we are the first. But they have no credibility. They're just breaking everything, and then they break themselves. 5 minutes later, they say that is wrong. So sorry. This is it. BBC will wait till they get confirmation, and then they say that. And so once you listen to that, it may be 5 minutes late or 10 minutes behind everybody else, but you can be sure. And you need to pay a price for that credibility, because otherwise you'll be consuming fake news. And today we have things like technology allows us to even send deep fake stuff around. Now, how is this shaking up technology shaking up traditional and SOMI? It's almost like this. I can compare the fall of traditional media. Fall meaning it is not dead, the climb down, to the Catholic Church versus the Protestant movement of the 16th century. You probably know that the Catholic Church is 2000 years old. It is like the traditional media. It has some old ideas about how to run an establishment. Everybody inside the church, like me, we are always abusing the establishment. Like students in a college say, this principal is mad. Can't he give Fridays off, or can't he allow us to wear, or can't she allow us to wear, not a informal dress on Fridays? Can't we have Friday dressing? Why do we need to study till 4 p.m. every day? All that. But you continue to be in the college like that. In religions also, people continue to curse the establishment and still be there. Now, the Catholic Church has been going like that, cast in stone, traditional, old world thinking, until in 1517, somebody called Martin Luther, he thought he just could not put up with all the rubbish that was going on in the church. So he printed what he called 95 Theses, exposing all the bad, the rubbish, the nonsense, the dirt, the filth that was going on in the Catholic Church, and he pasted it on the door of a church in Germany. Now, the background to that was how he could actually shake up the Catholic Church was only because 50 years before that, Johannes Gutenberg had invented the printing press. If there was no printing press, our man Martin Luther would have to sit and write 95 Theses. You wouldn't be able to take copies. He can only write one. Even to write that one, it will take so long. Because the printing press was there on earth, this was the biggest thing that happened post invention of the printing press. Newspapers would come later. So he pasted that, and from then onwards, the church broke into two and continues till date, the Catholics and the Protestants. So this is what printed paper can do. If you have printing facility, you can shake up the whole world. Now that just continued for another 500 years, from 1517 to nearly 2017, exactly 500 years, until technology came to enable each one of us to be like Martin Luther and not take photocopies or printed copies, but digital copies, which can simply be multiplied. At least Martin Luther had to go to the printing press and take copy by copy, wait there, and then go and paste them on church walls or doors. Today, you can simply, if you have 5,000 FB followers or friends, you simply put one post, it is already posted everywhere. Everybody has seen it. So it's as easy as that. Now, despite all that, if traditional media continues to survive, then we should find out why and how, and the reasons for both coexisting today. One reason I would say is, I don't know how many of you are doing literature, but if you know a little bit of economics, and if you're interested in marketing and business administration, this college I know has BBA and MBA and all that. There's something called a marketing theory called the bottom of the pyramid. You see a pyramid, the bottom is broad and the top is pointed. If you take a market of people, the most number of people will be at the bottom. So if you make products and services for the bottom of the pyramid, millions will follow you, or they'll be able to buy it. 20 years ago, we found something interesting happening in the Indian market, for example. Until then, there were shampoos in bottles. And then this bottom of the pyramid concept came into being, and people suddenly found an opportunity there. So many people in India are poor, they cannot afford shampoo bottles, which are 200 rupees. So came the sachets. And then almost everything began to be sold in sachets in India, from pickles to curry powders. Everything became in sachets. So you can buy shampoo for 5 rupees. You can buy a single blade, not a packet of blades. All of that. So social media is almost like that. It is targeting the bottom of the pyramid. So if you remember, when newspapers were there, there was only X number of readers, because it takes some literacy and intellect to read a newspaper. But when magazines came, and in Kerala we call them the Ma publications, Malayalam Manorama, and all those weeklies, they were all Mangalam, they were all starting with Ma, so they call them Ma publications. The numbers increased because you required only a lesser level of intellect to read those serials in those magazines. And when the television came, almost everybody could see that. Everybody, that's the bottom of the pyramid. So we called it the idiot box. Any idiot could see those serials on TV. You didn't need literacy. You didn't have to read anything. And, anyone could see that. So the numbers just swelled. The same with social media. If you recently, I have a YouTube channel called Geometric View. I would be very happy if any one of you sees that, because I have very few viewers. But I'm not ashamed having few viewers, because I feel I am a little up on that pyramid. So, it's not that everybody can see my channel. And I actually felt elated recently when I saw a video in which Mark Zuckerberg, you all know him, was interviewing Yuval Noah Harari. If you don't know Yuval, he's one of the biggest thinkers of our generation. He's written famous books like Sapiens and Homo Sapiens and all that. So I looked at the number of people who have seen that video. It is so small. Even my videos circulate more than that. That's because they're right at the top of the pyramid. You really need to be intellectual to get there. Compare that to Bhagya Lakshmi in the dubbing artist in Malayalam and Tamil and some languages. Bhagya Lakshmiyum Kootukarikalum poi orale tallunnu. Ainte video 2 million. I mean, everybody can see that. Everybody can see that. When you're passing by on the road, people go and poke their nose there. They stand for a while. So 5,000 people gather, 10,000 people gather. But imagine Vazhivakil oru neurosurgeon in the class, how many people will go and listen to him? Maybe 3, 2. So on social media, it's the view. I mean, the viewers will be much more than on traditional media. But so the question arises: will it pulp the topic of our day? Will it pulp traditional media completely by sheer numbers? It will not, because just take the example of 2 weeks ago. I hadn't heard of e-bull jet. Ippo, every Malayali has heard of e-bull jet. But if I were 17 years like you, I would have heard of e-bull jet before the incident happened. If there's anybody in this group who hasn't heard of e-bull jet, it's 2 brothers, Ebin and Libin, who violate all rules on the road, but who have got 15 lakh subscribers. 15 lakham Malayaligal subscribers. And they actually, when they were arrested for violating traffic rules, I mean the vehicle rules actually, different, multiple violations of the MVD rules, A few thousand people immediately went to the police station and to the jail where they were put up. They have so many followers. Now, the number is there. The biggest difference between that and traditional media or the serious media is serious things are not handled by Ebin and Libin. They were not there when the Taliban entered Kabul. They're not reporting that. Decision makers make a difference versus the numbers at the bottom. Let me just ask you this. Manorama News has a subscriber base on YouTube of 5 million. That's a big number. That's a big number. Madhrubhumi also has, sorry, I don't have Madhrubhumi's number, but Manorama has 5 million. Times Now has only 2 million. But which channel do you think India takes more seriously? Which channel do you think India takes more seriously? Though one has only 2, the other has 5. It is certainly Times Now that India takes seriously, because this channel is a Malayalam channel in a corner of the country seen by only a section of Indians, though the number is large. So decision makers would be seeing Times Now, not Manorama. Similarly, Ebin and Libin have 15 lakh followers. Okay, that's 1.5 million. The BBC has only 10 million. Do you think BBC is only 6 times Ebin and Libin? Not at all. The BBC's influence is so much around the world. It is also going through financial trouble. Of course, it is funded by the British government. It is going through financial trouble, but the influence-wise, credibility-wise, the number of decision makers who see that, so the advertisers also consider that, and not purely the numbers, because the makeup of that crowd matters to advertisers as much as the number. It is not pure numbers. And now there are some ways. I'm not trying to put down the social media. Let me tell you some advantages and some of the things that go in favor of social media. The most important thing is straight talk. Straight talk from the heart. They talk out a lot of truth, which establishments are unable to do. You read today's Hindu, you will feel so angry in 21st, sitting in this 21st century and reading a newspaper. This Muttal Maramuri case going on in Kerala, of crores worth of trees being taken away by the IFS, connivance of IFS officers and Forest Service, not Foreign Service, IFS officers, some other bureaucrats, the Augustine brothers, and some CPM people and all that. And there is a traditional media journalist involved in it, Deepak Dharmadam, from Pinarayi Vijayan's constituency, Dharmadam. And social media has, the photo of Pinarayi Vijayan attending Deepak. Deepak is just a journalist with a television channel in Kerala, a junior journalist. And Pinarayi Vijayan and family attending his wedding 5 years ago. Now, Hindu or an Indian Express, I have not seen Express today, but the Hindu of today is still unable to even name that man, because that's how old media has worked. They don't name anybody. They'll say a Pramukha journalist, a journalist with, in fact, today Hindu has written, a journalist with a television channel in Kerala who uses the Dharmadam byline is reportedly involved in it. Now, who would want to read such stuff? Why can't you name him? Are you scared of legal implications? Then what about all these guys on social media? They're risking their lives by saying that because there'll be a legal notice against them. So people are, going to social media to hear the truth. Some of it may be biased. Obviously, all of us are biased in our own ways, but at least you can hear the truth, while traditional media cannot say that. Another problem with traditional media is because they rely on advertising money, they cannot say anything about advertisers. will a Madhurabhumi or a Manorama or an Indian Express be able to mock a Bobby Chamanur? Not at all, because Bobby Chamanur spends millions in advertising money in all these media. You cannot make fun of him. But, he was lampooned by the social media, and social media is also capable of building a brand like him. So if we all know Bobby Chamanur as a positive brand today, that's also because of social media. Social media activists have joined together and made the Boche brand. Bobby Chamanur, Boche. Now, every Keralite sees Bobby Chamanur in a positive light. After first running him down, the same social media has lifted him up. So that's another advantage of social media, is that it is very appealing to youth because it's only a few seconds. It never goes deep. It's just, small kids who are 3 years old and 4 years old or 2 years old. They love advertising on television or on mobile phones, because every 3-year-old now has mobile phones. They love advertising. They will not be able to sit through a movie. That's because advertising is 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 3 seconds. Their attention span is only so much. Same goes for social media. Most of the stuff that goes viral are 3 seconds, 5 seconds, some catchy line that, my daughters have an Instagram account called Mushy Mool. They stitch clothes and give it, and once in a while they post something, and they have never got more than 7,000 views on Instagram. Recently somebody commented, why are you putting reels of your dancing? You can't dance. I mean, you're poor dancers. So I have 3 daughters. So one of them had this idea. She put another dance video, meaning a 5-second dance, and said, some are saying we can't dance. Why are you putting dance reels? This is the copy is written on the visual. We are dancing because it will get us reach on Instagram, and also we may be able to improve our dancing. The people liked it so much because somebody is criticizing these girls for dancing, and they're saying, we are so poor in dancing. What can we do about it? We may improve in future. Yesterday night it crossed 3 lakhs. They had never touched 7,000. It went to 3 lakhs. So people get their 15 minutes of fame, here and there. But they're not like the BBC. BBC does not go viral with every report, but you can trust it. You can be there. Both have their own advantages and disadvantages. You probably heard of Anjal Bhatia, the girl who put a post recently. She's running a chai kada, a very small shop called Chai Dosti. Cafe Dosti. It's called Cafe Dosti. It's in Delhi. And she put a post on Insta saying, these are COVID times. My tea shop is not getting any, enough customers. We are struggling. One Chhattisgarh ADGP, he says, he shared that post saying we should help this girl. And the tagline for that Cafe Dosti is where friendships brew, BREW, brew. So this ADGP shared that post saying, one girl running a coffee shop, a tea shop in Delhi in COVID times, struggling. It just took a couple of days. All IAS officers and IPS officers in Chhattisgarh shared that. And then suddenly IAS officers around the country took a love for this girl. And now she can't handle customers. So this is what social media does. It can just take you beyond your wildest imaginations in no time. You never know if you're on social media. I'm telling you, if you're one of the 50 sitting and listening to this, if you have a social media account, you'll never know where you will be tomorrow at this time. Tomorrow 4:30 p.m. You never know. You never know. One post can change your life. Yeah, so I think I've covered the advantages also of social media. Now I think it's getting to time, so let me just wind up by or summarize by saying that okay, the traditional media is being beaten. It's taking a lot of blows from social media. It is realizing things like, you need to talk the truth. So traditional media is always covering behind some wall or the other because it needs to protect people. It either needs to protect a politician, it needs to protect a brand, a company that is giving it advertising. It needs to protect a certain section of viewers or readers because they may not like it. So all those news they kind of suppress, which is why in Malayalam we have a beautiful word to describe what traditional media today is. They are called the Mukhya Dhara Patrangal, not the Mukhya Dhara Patrangal. Varthagalella Mukkunna Mukhya Dhara Patrangal, because the main agenda is to suppress news. If some news comes against a community, say, then that is suppressed. You'll put it in some corner where nobody will see it. If it's a Catholic paper, then a news like Alanjeriയുടെ ഭൂമി ഇടപാട്, then it will not appear. Or Muttil Maram Muri case, it will not appear in Deshabhimani. Depending on which media you are, you have your biases, so you suppress it, so you become a Mukhya Dhara Patram. While social media will give us all that. And on the flip side, you can't rely on social media. It is better to wait for the old ladies like BBC to come slowly and tell you the truth that Naushad is not dead. Naushad is alive. All these guys may be fast, we may be slow, but we tell you the truth. I'll end and summarize by saying that it's not one or the other. They'll keep on punching each other. But finally, it's given that technology runs our contemporary world, it will be a combination of big data plus data analytics plus viral effects, the storytelling capabilities, data visualization. More and more people want data in visual format. So it's not just graphs that do. You need to put it in simple graphics that everybody can understand. So that data visualization and a mix of traditional journalism will combine to produce fantastic social media journalism. So they both survive. They'll be each other's punching bag and carry on. With that, let me wind up. I think I've taken a bit more time than I promised. So sorry. I didn't notice the time. Thank you very much for listening. In the 21st century, the most precious treasure is somebody's attention. Thank you for giving me your attention.
Thank you, sir. Now the session is open to queries. Those of you who are having any doubt, please post it in the comment box or unmute and speak.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
So my question is, what are the major troubles and purpose of journalism within the media industry as a whole?
What are the major
troubles and purpose of journalism?
Oh, you asked me two questions.
As a whole.
Okay, you asked me two questions. One is major troubles.
Yes, sir.
And the
purpose of journalism.
Oh, okay. The major troubles, disruption. Like technology is disrupting everything. Technology is disrupting the media. You probably think that tourism is the largest industry in the world. It may be, but war is another big business in the world. Similarly, media is also a very big business in the world. We actually are using media now, though we don't. This may not be journalism, but we are also in media right now, discussing this topic that itself is a medium of communication to a group of 50 plus, certainly worth calling this media. The purpose, media is a social good. Actually, like education and health, theoretically, media also should come free. We should not be charging for education. We should not be charging for medical aid, and we should not be charging for media. Imagine a world like that. That is the ideal world. So the purpose is social good.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, I'm Sarita M from SD College, Alapura. I'm the faculty coordinator there. Though you mentioned that you have sort of overshot the time, it was worth the attention we gave you, sir. It was such a wonderful session.
Oh, thank you, Sarita.
The question I would like to ask you is: you told us about the kind of information boom that we are in the midst of.
Yeah.
And what role can education play in equipping today's youngsters to find their way through this maze of information? What role can education play for that?
Very good question, Sarita. Very, very good question. Actually, education, for so many years, we've thought that education is imparting literacy, making us learn how to write the letters. But today, there is something called infobesity. Obesity. There is something called infobesity. There is too much information. Just too much information. Nobody can handle. A person called Daniel Dennett is the guy who invented this term about 20 years ago. From that time, there was information obesity. In fact, today, if you open a Gmail, a common man who is 40 years old and above will have Gmail still. You won't have Gmail, I'm sure. You're all 18, 19, 20. But we have Gmail. We start our day by deleting unwanted Gmail, all the spam. So today's education should tell people from all this information to find out quickly, to navigate through that quickly, which is called information literacy. So people just fall for fake news without thinking. You see some 3-year-old video and then they still pass it around. How sad. So one thing is to understand that everybody's time is important, is valuable. So don't pass around junk. There is a joke on social media that there are some straightforward people. Are another straightforward people? Straight as forward. So don't be such straightforward people. Have some media literacy, have some information literacy. Just like when you're preparing for your exams also, you may have to read 3 books. But if you know how to get to the important points in the book and you have only 3 days left, that is literacy. You must learn how to do that. Because in our time, books were expensive. There were very few books. So every book was precious. Today, there is a surfeit of books. So the challenge has just reversed. Now you just need to find out where is that information you want and avoid the rest. I hope I've answered, Sarita, somewhat.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm sure all the youngsters around have benefited from your answer.
Thank you.
Sir, here is a question posted by Meenakshi.
Yeah.
How social media is changing journalism?
I saw that in the chat box. എനിക്ക് റൂഹിനെ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടിക്കണമെന്നില്ല, എന്നാലും രാമായണം മുഴുവൻ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞായിരുന്നു. So to answer that again would be to repeat how it's changing from I'm a journalism teacher also, so from that angle let me answer this question. Until 20 years ago, people came to become print journalists. And then people came to journalism institutes to become television anchors because they all thought television anchors are like movie stars. Everybody wanted to be a television anchor and nothing else. I want to be an anchor only. Nobody wants to be a sub-editor. Nobody wants to do the back office work, which is why you find all these mistakes in print and TV, because sub-editors are the backbone. There's no backbone for media today because everybody wants to be a star. I will only hold the mic and be in front of the camera. The editing, all that dirty work, let somebody else do. So people came for television anchoring, and today people come for not yet such a rush, but soon people are coming for social media, how to succeed. In China, there is a college which gives full-time degree course to make Wang Hongs. Wang Hong is a social media influencer. If you are a social media influencer, you make millions every month. You probably saw Rahul Gandhi taking a bath in the sea, fishing with some people and all that. Actually, that guy is less than 26. He was planning to, he had no job after his college. He was planning to migrate to Canada. And today his YouTube channel is doing so well. I understand he's making between $5,000, that is 3.5 lakh rupees, and $70,000 a month. $70,000 is about 50 lakh rupees a month, every month. So that's how social media is influencing even journalism education.
Thank
so you go to China,
sir.
you can be a Wang Hong.
I hope Meenakshi got her answer.
Yeah, Meenakshi said thank you in the chat box.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, how is social media changing news consumption?
The question almost on similar lines, but let me answer you. Who was that? Rumi?
Yes, sir. Rumi.
Rumi, yeah. Today, when television was there and before social media, we always used to talk about eyeballs. Marketers would say, how many eyeballs did it get? Meaning, how many viewers saw something. Today, once after social media has come, it has become beyond anybody's consumption. There's so much in our WhatsApp boxes and all other social media platforms that nobody can manage all the input that comes into our boxes across various platforms. Recently, I got admitted to, it's only by invitation, to an association of YouTubers. And I was warned that there would be at least 300 messages every day in that one group. And that if I'm not active for even 3 days at a stretch, I will be sent out of the group. So you can imagine, just to manage that one group, because I get a lot of benefit by being in the group, so I'm there. But every day I expect that 300 to come. Sometimes it is 600. Somebody's birthday or something, 600 messages. And I need to sit and delete all that. So, and keep, what I need. So that's how consumption patterns have changed. No wonder, people are not eating well, sleeping well, because they're trying to get over all that consumption and eat everything on your plate. You can't eat everything on your plate. It's like going to a wedding and trying to eat everything there. Nobody can, don't even try. So we should be consumption literate also. Like I said, we should be literate, information literate. We should be consumption literate. It's impossible. If, somebody sends you, if 2,000 people send you good morning, what do you say? What do you do? You can't. So understand that you target your good friends and send them a good morning. But otherwise, you just leave it. After 5 days, they'll know you'll never respond to a good morning message.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rumi.
I think there are no more queries. Over to Sheetal.
Yeah, before Sheetal speaks, let me just offer an appreciation, word of appreciation to the college. Before COVID, I was going to a lot of colleges across India on talks. And what I noticed about education is, generally, I don't approve education in India at all, because I find the standards pretty bad. I feel the fees is always more than what is delivered in colleges. And one particular point that hurts me is that after you give a talk, there are no questions. There's total silence. So there's a joke that in India, a student opens her mouth only twice in 22 years, from the time you start in LKG to PG. And the first time you open your mouth is when you go for LKG admission, the headmistress, headmaster will ask you, and then Johnny, yes, Papa. And then you sit tight-lipped, no questions asked, allowed. Teacher will be, all teachers for 22 years will be talking to you. And at the end of PG, once more, a student opens the mouth. Vaiva vosi on the so Johnny 22 years later, Vaiva vosi ke vaad orana samsarikum. So these are the only 2 times a student opens their mouth in India. I'm so glad that everybody can't be given a fabulous, my appreciation to Chinmay College. Otherwise, you feel like a fool after you give a talk. Everything goes blank. So congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It means a lot for us.
Next, we have Mr. Ramsi Menun, Director and YCC Kerala. He is a postgraduate in Marketing Management and Marketing Communication with professional exposure to advertising, sales, and marketing. Co-founded Kerala's first professional event management and wedding planning company, Impresario, in 1995. Co-founded Empress PR in 2010. Resource person to management and mass communication, educational institutions, and knowledge specialist in syllabus updating team to educational institutions. Sir, over to you.
Sheetal Ram sir is
Ram
there,
is-
I think.
He is in the hospital. He has
Oh,
taken
okay,
another
sometimes
break.
Ram sir may not be taking
Yeah.
up.
Send
So
me a
we'll
message.
call K.R. Nair sir. K.R. Nair sir, will you
Okay, ma'am.
speak a few words? Hello?
Let me invite Mr. K.R. Nair, sir, who was the best friend of Joe, sir, to speak a few words. Sir, over to you.
Good evening to all. I was immersed in Jose Carria's basically because after years, because we stayed together at the YMCA when we were on a journey to journalism, to make a mark in journalism. And as he said, we both had worked hard for 36 years, over 36 years in journalism. So when he was talking about social media, anyone could become a journalist. We were thinking, we both were people who made pages when it was lead. We have to make blocks and all those things. Then bromide, where you stand with the artist, draw the pages and print, and then you all read. Today, anyone can create a news with the tip of your finger. You don't have to, even that is why Naushads and many people die, because there is no need for any effort. And also, we both used to be in Bombay, wander around all the old bookshops and trying to buy books. And he was a voracious reader. He loved to get all these books. And so what we wrote, what we wanted to write should have been attractive for the readers. And that is exactly why Joe went on to become the head of Economic Times. He knew the subject. For me, I'm a sports journalist. It is cricket. And so I mastered those things, all the cricket books we read. And there was a time when we were in Bombay at a time, top journalists were there. And we were all used to wait to read the columns of Dom Morais, of what we called Vinod Mehta, and all of them. And we got a thrill when they invited us to write for them. Today, anyone can write anywhere, and especially in India, where it is a free. You can just walk out and go and see an accident and create a story, take a picture and do the story. The same is not applicable. I live in Dubai. You cannot go and do that. If you go and take a picture of an accident and put it, you will be on the next flight back home, because fact is very, very important. Here, there is no fact checking at all. You can put it as long as people are happy. And also, let me also tell you, you have to write about now cricket also. I am writing many articles, but if you write about a fight between Kohli and Rohit Sharma, there will be many articles, many to read it, and each one will create a story that they have fought and they walked out of the dressing room and everything. Whereas for me, if I write a story, I will check with Ravi Shastri, the coach with whom I have closed this thing. So there is a reliability. But since there wouldn't be a fact, or there won't be there will be no truth, there will be no readers. And this is one of the reasons that people love to read all the things that is not reliable, and it is pushing the print, the reliable, including print media is almost dying, and over and above the normal, good papers, the big papers are all, because people want to read these kind of small stories. So these are things which happening, but like the changes that happen, this also will go through a change. And what an enlightening session I had listening to, because if you want to hear a lot of interesting stories, go to Jose Correa and listen to them. And he can put humor into those things and convey these things. So hours and hours we used to listen. I have a blog which is krblog.com, which is purely dealing with cricket. But now I write about messages of anxiety and how to handle those things as parents and youngsters. And I listen to all, I watch all Jose Correa's big thing. There is a message in each of his videos. So all these things, and they are reliable messages, not based on fake, and telling you what is fake and what is not fake. Thank you for the time given.
Thank you, sir. Let me now invite Sri Mahesh Chandrabalika, Secretary Chinmaya Mission, to speak a few words. Sir, over to you.
Good evening, everybody, distinguished personalities and students. 2 days back, Lyra sent me the link of this program and the invitation. So I just sent a reply saying that best wishes and a thumbs up I sent and just finished it off. Today morning, she just sent a message again saying that, won't you be there for the function? I said, let me just check. And then I went back and saw, and I found that Jose Correa is the person who is behind Geometric. He just mentioned that he is in journalism for the last 37 years. But in fact, to be honest, I came to know of Jose Correa just about a year and a half when the COVID started. I saw, because we had all the time in the world during the COVID time, sitting at home, browsing through all the social media, and I found certain Geometric, which I religiously listened to almost all the and even the latest one about the fall of a nation of Afghanistan, which is now the latest, I think. So I think what Jose Correa just mentioned through the social media is much more nice listening to.
Thank you, sir.
Am I audible?
No, Mahesh, you just got cut off. Hello, Mahesh. Hello? Hello, Mahesh, you are not audible.
So it was nice listening to you, sir. And I thank the. Oh, hello.
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, yes, yes. Hello, we can hear you, Mohit.
Yeah, it was nice listening to Joe's career live, and thank you all for inviting me and taking part in this. Before I conclude, can I just ask Mr. Nair is from Dubai, KR Nair?
Yes. Yes, I'm from Dubai.
Okay,
And
sir.
I was with the Gulf News.
Okay, we had a lunch together in City Center, if you remember.
Oh,
Your daughter was in VIT. Anand Raj
yes, my daughter.
I'm in through Chinmaya. Your wife is associated with Chinmaya Yuva Kendra.
Yes, that is right. Yeah, and she is a lecturer and a professor in microbiology. And my daughter just completed her master's.
Okay, that time she was in
Rochester
VIT.
University, but yes, VIT. Yes, exactly.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes, I
thank you.
remember.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to
invite US
invite Mr. US Kuti, sir, to speak a few words.
Thank you, one and all. Very good evening. Because it was a nice talk. Because after a long time, I'm hearing Mr. Joe's speech. Because I have seen a lot of speeches physically, but the first time I'm seeing the speech of Mr. Joe in a internet format. Because it was excellent. I think Mr. Dr. Vinay Kumar and all the other dignitaries and all the college and the students, you all got the best tips from this talk. Joe, it was a wonderful talk because I was listening from the first hour itself because it was excellent. So I wish all the listening to the YCC, and it was a wonderful program. Within this 2 days, you have made this kind of a program. It was, hope everybody's enjoyed. Wish you all the best to all the YCC members. Thank you once again. Thank you. Thank you.
Breathing ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಗಿರ್ ಫುಲ್ ಮಾಗಿರಾಡ್ಯ ಎತ್ತ ನಡ್ತಲ್ಲ ಗಣಗಿದ ಗರ ಹಾಕು ಹೋತು ಏನಿದು ಜಗನ್ ಬೆಳ್ದಲ್ ಮನು
Okay,
Sheetal.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful words. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Swati Manohar, President YCC, for expressing thanks. Swati, over to you.
Hari Om. Good evening. It is my honor to express thanks on behalf of Chinmaya Arts and Science College for Women, YCC Chapter Kannur, to all the participants for attending the program. First of all, I would like to thank Almighty for making this event successful. I'm profusely elated to take this opportunity to thank the speaker of the event, Mr. Joe Karia, Kerala correspondent of the Gulf News and faculty member at the Institute of Journalism, for sparing your valuable time to be with us and for inspiring us with your words and thoughts on the future of journalism and the influence of social media. Your ideologies definitely made. To say more, we were able to Matsa. A special gratitude to Dr. T. Vinay Kumar, National President PRCI, Mr. US Kuti, National Secretary General PRCI, and Mr. Ramsi Menon, Director YCC Kerala, for all your support and for providing us the opportunity to conduct this event. We are greatly indebted to all the other faculty coordinators and members from different YCC chapters for their cooperation and support. On behalf of Chinmaya Arts and Science College, I express a heartfelt thanks to all of you for your well wishes. I extend my gratitude to Mr. Mahesh Chandra Balika, Secretary Chinmaya Mission, for your presence and support. I plan I place a record of our sincerity to our beloved principal, Dr. Sia Lalita, for being a pillar of support. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Anita ma'am, HOD of Computer Application, for all the technical support you provided. Thank you, ma'am. Special thanks to my teachers and friends for always being there, motivating and supporting. I, on behalf of Young Communicators Club of our institution, once again thank each and everyone for being here and making this event successful. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you, Swati.
Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. These are the words by Winston S. Churchill. With this, we come to an end of our session. Thank you all for your participation and have a nice day. Thank you.